because the time, so, and I will not mention the citations, all I will say quote unquote, so, Introduction. In the past few decades, a wave of students has arrived to the United States from Spanish-speaking countries, Middle Eastern countries, and Asian countries. Students of different religions and cultural backgrounds may have different learning styles and different expectations from the instructor. The diversity of modern classroom calls for an understanding of how educators need to create a culturally responsive classroom environment to ensure the success of a wide range of students. A culturally responsive management style would help to ensure that the various diversity issues will be addressed in a well-synchronized way. A teaching and classroom management style needs to be designed to achieve active student participation in the learning process. In the United States, diversity thrives because American culture fosters adaptability. During the 1980s, 30% of American population growth occurred from immigrants. 1 in 5 students in American colleges and universities is a member of a minority group. Educators in contemporary America face a classroom environment more diverse than that of any other immigrant nation. This classroom diversity reflects college and university admission policies focused on ensuring diverse student bodies. College and universities today perceive diversity in a student body as an asset, a source of pride, and a marketable feature for the school. In addition to being a source of pride, diversity calls for a new approach in classroom management. Educators should understand what management styles they need to address this classroom diversity and to ensure a positive learning environment. Educators need to learn how to embrace diversity in their teaching methods. Simply admitting a diverse student body into the institution does not solve the issue that arise subsequently. More important in addressing the issue is ensuring that the curriculum is structured to adapt to those students. In some geographical areas, diversity does not need a great deal of attention because the student bodies themselves are not diverse. However, at LaGuardia Community College in Queens, New York, where I teach undergraduate business courses, 60% of the students come from outside the United States, with 20,000 students from 120 different countries and 110 different languages represented. No single cultural background represents an absolute majority group in my classes. When a teaching style is not adapted to the needs of the students, learning capacity can suffer. With a more suitable class management style, students are more likely to connect to the social environment and are more able to negotiate the classroom environment to enhance learning capacity. The effective management of classroom diversity leads to positive outcomes in learning and student development and helps to develop meaningful connections with the students. Educators will benefit from an investigation of the way students respond to classroom management styles in a diverse classroom. To this end, I am proposing an exploratory pilot study that focuses on differences in nationality and a few specific teaching methods. As an example, I generally invite detailed discussions in my classroom. Detailed discussions enable students to interact with the lecture topic and with the professors and can help students grasp a difficult topic more easily. Examples of a detailed classroom discussion include citing a real-life example related to a theory to help the students understand and to make the concepts comfortable. I might also explain the history of the topic or theory to generate interest After a detailed explanation of a topic, educators can ask students if they need more clarification. In this way, educators can gain a better idea of students' learning style and of how well they are understanding the lecture. Although I believe that my students like a detailed discussion class, I do not have any evidence for this impression, and I have not located any research to demonstrate whether I am correct. Some students may not enjoy or benefit from detailed discussion for personal or cultural reasons. As another example, some students may like a group project, whereas others may like an individual project. A group project enhances students' knowledge by enriching the ideas in a project with the perspective of other people and with multiple reviews of the material. Group interaction enhances students' skills and ultimately increases success. A group project expands social interaction, especially between different cultural groups. In addition, during a group project, students have the opportunity to access their ideas in front of others, thereby building additional social and leadership skills. In one study, 91% students stated that they like group projects. Despite the evidence and thus many advantages, educators cannot ensure that all students will thrive by participating in group projects. Furthermore, some students may not like to be asked a question by the professors because they are not accustomed to this practice. Some researchers have found that Asian and Hispanic students do not ask professors any questions during the class and do not like being asked questions by their professors. Either, in investigation of effective management styles may help professors create a positive environment in a diverse classroom because student learning effectiveness should be the focal point of an academic settings. Perspectives. There are several perspectives to be used when exploring classroom management styles. There are cultural and ethnic issues, issues related to the type of geographical community, gender issues, and psychological issues. I now explore each of those perspectives in turn. I'll explain only two because of the time. The first one is cultural and ethnic perspective. When I studied in China as an exchange student, most of the students in my class were American. One of the Chinese professors did not speak English and he used a translator in the class. Not only did students not ask questions of the professor as students do in American colleges and universities, but also there are no jokes or any off-topic discussions in the classroom as often occurs in an American classroom. In addition, the professor was not expecting any questions from the students. One topic was particularly unclear to me that professor explained to us, but no one asked any questions about that. But we all refrained from asking for clarification. Usually, Chinese students are obedient and quiet in the classroom, quote unquote. Lots of quote unquote I skip because of the time. And this cultural orientation has been found to be true for Latino students as well. However, I would ask questions if I were in the American class at that time. I know that in my 3-hour classes in the United States, if there were no interaction between the students and me, students would become bored quickly. On the other hand, usually I do not want students to feel that I have put them on the spot. If asking and answering questions is not a norm of their culture. This issue is an example of the importance of understanding cultural differences in diverse classrooms to ensure positive outcomes. A classroom management styles that reflects the cultural values and belief systems of the students can help to enhance learning capacity. Multiple citations for these sentences. The second perspective I will discuss is psychological perspective. Any learning process is a highly emotional process, and educators' teaching methods affect the learning capacity of the students. I have attended 5 colleges and universities as a student in the United States, including 2 exchange student program abroad, one in England and one in China, as I said. In England, I remember feeling hurt when a professor invited only 2 of our 4 American students in the class to a party. In an American college, this exclusion, well, I was excluded from that party. So. In an American college, this exclusion would have been unlikely, but in England, it happened to me. Nevertheless, I did not adjust well to that incident. I believe that the incident affected me psychologically for the rest of the trip. However, effective methods are needed not only to improve learners' academic performance, but also to improve their social and emotional behavior. If educators fail to manage social and psychological challenges in the classroom, the level of academic performance may decline, quote unquote, this one also. I'm skipping method sections and limitations. I'm going to the conclusion. With diversity in college and university classrooms increasing, educators need to ensure that the classroom management styles are responsive to the needs of their students. However, most colleges and universities focus on the college and university environment rather than the classroom environment. Management style in diverse classrooms have received little research focus, quote unquote. The diversity of the college and university classroom reflects the globalized and international environment of the current world. Globalization and internationalism cannot be removed from everyday life anymore. Diversity involves differences in culture, national backgrounds, emotional orientation, sexual orientation, geographical locations, urban versus non-urban, gender and gender identity. Implementing a well-structured teaching pedagogy to manage a diverse classroom style is a daunting task that requires planning. The proposed study will be of value not because of the findings, but because the sample selection will be limited to the classes of one professor in one urban community college, and the sample size will be small and non-representative. The value of the study is in the question it raises and the method it suggests for soliciting student responses to classroom management styles deconstructed by cultural backgrounds and other factors important in understanding diversity. The findings of this study may be valuable in suggesting future research possibilities into the question of classroom participation by a diverse student body, ultimately leading to a more globalist thought process benefiting students, educators, and institutions of higher education. That's all. I will say